So, how's it going? We're working on a Damascus friction folder. What's up? How's it going? I'm working on a friction folder. I'm getting the handle carved. Brazil? Nice. There's the blade. I'm carving a slot in the handle of this friction folder. There we go, we're getting there. What's up, Wellington? How's it going? What's up, Old Test POV? How's it going? Get these super, disappeared. Get some super satisfying shavings with this tool here. They always fall on the floor though. Indonesia, what's up? How's it going? What's up, Squatch? How's it going? We're working on the friction folder. Got the blade pretty much entirely finished other than the etch. And now I'm working on carving the slot for the blade to go in. We've almost got it fitting all the way up. Hang on, I'll show you. I lost the pin. There we go. You can see we've almost got it buried. But this bit here, that's going to be sharpened. So that has to be buried like an 3/16 of an inch down, which it is not yet. And then I haven't put the lock pin in. But if we do that, there's our back position. So it doesn't quite lock in, but that, like, once you put your thumb there, then it's locked in. Come on. No, not that kind. Nice try, John. It's Damascus. All handmade. Pretty much completely from scratch. This is from just like a piece of firewood, basically. It's, yeah, nice try. It's walnut firewood. And then this is from an end cut from Baker Forge and Tool. And the pins are welding rod. Yeah, the pins are welding rod ends. So it's all recycled. It's all crap. And then wish I had a shop to make a knife in. I'm just in a lawnmower shed. And I've spent like 3 years building up all the tools and stuff to make knives. But yeah, I got this. I took a file. Actually, this was a couple of years ago now. I took a file and carved in this shape so I can use it to carve a slot. Like so. By like putting in there and pulling it through. Yeah, it works pretty good. It's not quite as fast as like milling it or something. Or is that probably? But it's a heck of a lot cheaper. Yeah. You just gotta go back and forth, carving a little bit, try it, carve a little bit. Where is that touching? Service is spotted good Wi-Fi, so it might be on your end. It is currently raining, so that probably doesn't help anything. But there's not a ton I can do about it, I don't think. So yeah, see, we get a nice, oh, it disappeared again. But you get some real nice shavings with this thing. And especially once you get down into it. Not your end? Huh, I don't know then. I guess it's gotta be my end. It's probably because it's raining. But yeah, you get some little shavings on there. You see Ron's a little short on dirt bike? Nah, I pretty much exclusively watch his live streams. I don't really watch many shorts just in general. Okay, it's there. We're getting there. It's starting to get hid. We got to bring it down a little bit more. Oh. I forgot to put my jeweler's optivisor thing on. This thing, if you make knives or something, you need to get you one of these. It's incredible. Will this work? Maybe. What's up? I'm carving a slot in this block of walnut for a friction folder I'm working on. Maybe I can. Ugh. There we go. There's a little hump down in there that was being awful stubborn. Hey, what's up? That would be funny. That's for sure. Oh, almost. Okay, still down there. We're getting real close. There we go. We're almost there. I'll stop right around here. I need to take out a little more, but we're very, very close. Yeah, I think I need to take off a little bit of that right there to be able to carve a little bit of more of an angle. So let's go over to here, to the grinder, and we'll do that, yeah? What's this? 220. Oh, not that one. There it is. There we go. That should work a little better. There we go. That's closed. And now it takes a little bit to open it. I gotta loosen up the one spot inside. But once you get it open, that's where the open position is. Open, closed. It's way too stiff and closed right now. Way too stiff when you're closing it. But yeah. There's our slot carved in the handle. And then we also have a shotgun brass ferrule that'll go on there. even know which side it's contacting on. Okay, it looks like it's contacting on the outside. Alrighty. Almost there. That's better. Needs a little more. How did that not help? I need to shim or something. Ugh. I think it's contacting on both sides. That's the stiff point. Come on, get it. How is it getting more stiff? What the heck? Here, let's try. So basically what I'm doing right now is I've just Sharpied. Can you see? I've just put some Sharpie in there. And now I'm going to assemble it and work the mechanism back and forth a couple of times. And then I'll be able to see where it's rubbing because the Sharpie won't be there anymore. It's a machinist trick. They usually use dicum or marking fluid. Okay. It's alright, right in there. It's a machinist trick. They usually use blue dicum or marking fluid, and they'll like rub the two pieces together to be able to see where they're contacting. And they can use that to get pieces perfectly flat or to get a fit up like perfect. And I'm using it to get this mechanism to work and be nice and fluid and smooth. So yeah, there's your tip of the day. See. I think I can call that good. There we go. That worked pretty well. Now let's see. I want to find a piece of 600 grit sandpaper. Let's see. There should be some in here. That's 1,000. 1,500. 1,000. Come on. Jeez, what's 1,000 grit? 2,500. This is a little coarser, maybe 600 grit. And then I'm just gonna soften up the corners on this, on the tail here. Maybe get a new piece of 600. Or just use this thing. Maybe do it on the belt grinder. Either way, that bit needs to be softened up because your finger's going to be in contact with that a lot. So let's see, where's the 600? Here's 600. There we go. That's much more comfortable now. Can you see? No, not really. There we go. It's got a wire wheel right now, but I'm going to put a buffing wheel on there. And buff the Damascus before we start in on etching. Still see the pattern, which is good. That means that there's some, like, it's raised a little bit. There we go. Now, gator piss ready. Let's see. Come on, where's it? Where's my etching wire? I don't want to have lost it again. This is ridiculous. Where the hell is it? Well, here's one. This will work, right? Yes, this will work. There we go. Got it all cleaned off with the acetone. There we go. Now, in the gator press for 30 minutes. It is 154, so at 225. We'll pull that out in there. Oh, come on. Get in there. Yeah. Alright, now we're going to finish shaping up this handle. Sup? How's it going? And this will help me keep it. Oh, okay, just take everything off, I guess. Sup, vid? How's it going? This piece of 1/8" flat stock will help me keep the whole handle like parallel and square to the slot, which is going to be how the plane the blade is on. So, yeah. Forgot to plug my phone in. Alrighty. As we got what we got. We got the sculpt in both, I guess, all three directions. Now I just need to round it out. And then we'll take it up through the grits. Stop! Ow! What the heck? Sup, Toph? This is what we got for the handle on the Damascus friction folder. I got the shotgun brass ferrule fit up yesterday, and we carved the slot and we're getting it sculpted today. Did you get a new blower motor yet? I just earlier got notification from Amazon that it shipped. So it is on its way. It said it'll be here like Tuesday. So yeah, I got a coal forge blower off of Amazon. So that should work a lot better. It does still have the variable, like I can vary the amount of air. So that should be plenty of power and plenty of air for my gas forge, and then also for the ceramic chip forge when I get that going. So yeah, but this is looking very cool. Yeah, it should last long. What I get for using a mattress inflator. But yeah, we also got, I forgot to close up the acetone. That's not good. But yeah, we got the blade and the gator piss here. I'm going to take it out because I don't want to interrupt the etch, but that's looking pretty cool. I'm doing 30-minute etch cycles. Let's see, it's got another 10 minutes yet. But I'm doing 30-minute etch cycles and buffing with the buffing wheel in between. and whatever grit this green stuff is. And that's so far been pretty good for getting a nice deep like texture etch. But yeah, and in the meantime, obviously, we're working on the handle. All right. There we go. We're getting this rounded out. What's up, Marcel? How's it going? There we go. We got that sculpted. And it is time to go check. Oh yeah, we also got that. It's pretty dope. It should. Yeah. You can fist grip, and then you can also grip it like this very nicely. But it is now time to go check on our Damascus. Looking very nice. Here, I'll get that's baking soda water. Oh yeah. Look at that. Sup? How's it going, Ian? This is how the Damascus on the friction folder is looking. Here, I'll pick it up and flip you all around. So that's the Damascus etch. I'm in between cycles right now, and then this is the handle. So I carved this lot, just carved this off from a block of walnut, and we got the shotgun brass on there. So yeah, it's gonna look pretty dope. What I'm doing for the etching is I'm just doing half-hour cycles, or a half-hour, cycles, I guess, in the gator piss, and I'm buffing it in between. And I mean, it's looking pretty good. You can see got some texture there. Yeah, there's definitely some texture. Also, Ian, I figured out how to turn on ad revenue for streams. So just figured you might want to know. When you start the stream, there's all like the settings you can do. You can change the thumbnail, you can change the title, all that. If you scroll all the way down and you go to advanced settings, you can turn on monetization. And I'm pretty sure that turns on ad revenue. I'll text you once after I end stream and look at the stats just to make sure that's true. But I'm pretty sure I figured out how to turn on ad revenue for while the stream is live, which is going to be great for me because I get a lot of views on these things. And yeah, like I said, I haven't, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty darn sure. And that will absolutely be awesome for me if that is the case, because then I'll be able to make ad revenue off of my best streams get 50, 60,000 views. And that's a lot of ad revenue. So, yeah. after buffing. And then I just hit it up with some acetone to get all the buffing compound off of there. Just scavenge some copper, nickel, and send to them. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, that would be fun to mess with. Close the acetone bottle now, rather than leaving it open for like half an hour. They'll probably don't get too bad. It's fairly cool out. Rainy day bonus material? Hell yeah. That would be sick. There you go. Look at that. Yeah, we've got that texture. No. No, I did not. What the hell? I'm a bladesmith, not a dentist. Ow. I just poked myself. Alrighty. Don't lie to them, Toph. Come on. Alright. 1:30 in the live stream. 2:30 in real life. But yeah, there it is. So at 3 o'clock, we'll pull that thing out, and I'll probably have to end live stream then because I have stuff after that. But yeah. I'll just continue taking this handle up through the grits while we're waiting. That was 120. Now we got 220. No, it's a knife. There's the handle. Okay, I'm gonna clean up that area. Yeah, gotta keep track of the fingers for sure. That's what these are for. I can see better with these. There's 220. What's up, Darian? How's it going? Well, this thing keeps falling off, I swear to God. There we go. Now it ought to stay on. I'm working on a handle for a friction folder. There's the handle. Very comfy. There we go. Looks like I'm sick. All right, see ya, Toe. All right, but there, that's at 600. I think that's pretty dope. Feels amazing like this. Feels great like that. But really, your fingers tuck into this hollow ground in here, and it is sick. Let's check on. Yeah. There's that. Look at that. Needs a little longer yet. But yeah. Probably give this brass a little polish while we wait. Nice and shiny. That is all. I'll do some hand sanding on this while we wait. That's not the right one. There's some 1,000. Something I like to do whenever I'm hand sanding high wood at a high grit. Is get some sort of liquid wood oil, like this is boiled linseed oil in here, and just put a little dab on that on the sandpaper, so you're actually wet sanding rather than dry sanding. So you just get a little dab of boiled linseed oil on your sandpaper, and that'll help with the dust and the sandpaper clogging. And just help lubricate it a little bit. And you get a sneak peek at what your wood will look like. There we go. Wi-Fi's back. And it just kind of starts getting that finish worked into wood. It's real nice. Where the heck did my file go? Oop. I'll just grab this one. I still gotta clean up the inside of this slot a little bit. There we go. Got that slot nice and clean. And then you can get a shop towel, or I prefer to use tissue actually to wipe that off. You can see how nice that looks. And then you also have to clean up these edges in here because they will not last. So you got to find something. I just use like a knife usually. You got to be real careful doing that. That's where these come in handy. There we go. Hey, what's up, Kuju? I don't know how well you can see, but yeah, I just beveled those inside edges. They're real, you really do need to do that. Actually, that one I can do with the file. Yeah. I'm good. We're just finishing up friction folder. How'd the forge weld on the axe go? We ended up getting it, but my forge, the blower on my forge, which is required to run the forge, died like 3 heats away from actually finishing all the forge welding. So, but we did end up getting that one side of the bit to go. It wasn't easy, but it happened. Yeah. But I got a new one on the way. It should be here Tuesday. Alright, there we go. I have a 3 burner that doesn't hold heat very well. I think it's the size. Yeah, if you run, especially a 3 burner, that thing would be really be sucking propane. If you put the tank in a bucket of water, then that should help, unless it freezes the entire bucket. But yeah, there's the handle. We got the shotgun brass on there, and then in between a post vise and a bench grinder. What's the next tool you buy after getting a forge and anvil? Bench grinder for sure. If you can, post vise. Well, actually, it depends on what kind of work you're gonna be doing. If you're gonna be doing like artistic blacksmithing stuff, like forging a whole bunch of leaves and stuff like that, maybe a post vise, but a bench grinder is still very good. Oh. There we go. There's our Damascus etch. I might do a few more cycles, but it's pretty good. And then and then here's the handle. So it'll look something like that, side profile. And it's absolutely awesome. Yeah, it's pretty low layer. This is the nice side. This side's a little lower layer. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's like a bayonet thing. So it's double hollow grinds. I don't know if you can see that, but we got hollow on that side, hollow on this side, and then hollows up in here too. And obviously got the fuller and stuff. And then here's the handle. This is all carved out of one piece of walnut. And I carved the slot for the blade to go into, so it's going to be a friction folder. Let's see. So this, I've been test assembling it for ages, doing to get the mechanism down. But this is the closed, open. So that's what it looks like open. You got a little bit there. And then this is the first assembly after like final sculpting the handle. And then you close it. And that's what it is closed. But with like this. So yeah. And then you can, opening it is a little stiff, but it's doable. And then you got a decent amount of material here with the tail, so you can like hold that well. So you can hold like this, or you can fist grip it. The fist grip isn't super comfortable because the pins are still there. But yeah, but this grip is great for stuff, and you can also probably grip it like this for opening boxes or letters, or heck, you could use the back edge for that. And then when you close it, that back edge is really buried down in there, so you're not going to cut yourself on that. Although, I carved this bit down too much, so now that edge, that's not good. Wow. Crap. Maybe I have to make a carry sheath for it, because that would be a danger if that's in your pocket. It'll probably want to ride about like this, but yeah. Like, it'll be ferruled like this, but that won't be enough to cover here. And you can't cover here because that's where the tail goes. So, I'll have to think about that. It is time for me to end stream because I have to go and do things. But yeah, I love the finish on the Damascus. I might do a coffee etch on this as well. But that's pretty much done. Yeah. Love the finish on the Damascus. The sculpting on the handle like fit and feel is, I like that. It's just that one thing. Yeah, I'll figure something out. But Yeah, we're getting there. This project has been a long time coming, so I'm glad I finished it. But yeah, there's all our pieces. There's the Damascus, there's the walnut handle. This handle isn't fully finished yet. I still have some more wet sanding to do with the linseed oil. And that'll bring it most of the way to the finish. And then it's just applying wax and stuff. And I might patina this brass. I'm not sure yet. And then the pins obviously go in the pinholes and will be pinned over and hidden underneath the brass. So yeah. But yeah, that's that. I will not be live again tomorrow. I have my welding fab apprenticeship tomorrow, I think. So I probably won't be live again tomorrow. Saturday I should be live working on something. I'm not sure. The forge is still down for the count. So I don't think I'll be working on the sword because the next step would be to forge the pommel and finish forging the guard, and I'm not going to be able to do that. So yeah, I'll be live again Saturday, and Sunday I'll be working on the daggers. So yeah, see y'all. Have a good one.